hope so. Yeah, my Zoom's been acting up like all day. I don't know what it is. Probably the humidity. I keep blaming it on the humidity, but my Zoom's been cutting up. But yeah, we left off on like a hot topic and staying motivated to really take the risk, and we're kind of speaking from a black man's perspective because we're both black men. And then talking just about like taking that risk and just like everything that's coming like at us, and it's the problems that we have. I think there's like black men that we really don't talk about this together. So whereas women, you see a lot of women's programs for black women and this and that, and I understand that it's needed and I support it completely. But you do not see, men, talking about issues with, being on child support or not being able to see their kids, and how that affects their motivation to start a business and to actually go out and be successful. It has a lot to do with that. Like if you don't have that foundation and that support, it kind of makes it hard for you to do that.
And that's what I was saying. Like when I was coming to some of the situations that I've been in, me going to school at OU, so I went there for accounting, and so I did a year there, and it was tough. I ain't gonna lie, it was tough. I was in originally my goal is to get my CPA, but so I'm working full time at a tax place, and so I'm working there from Monday through Saturday, and it's tax season too, and from January to whenever, and going from there, driving all the way out to Norman twice a week, going to school, then have meetings, and let me tell you, it don't get as cold as Chicago out there, but when that hit 10 degrees, bro, man, that is not black people weather.
It's something crazy, huh?
Crazy, and you got to walk across campus. So walking across campus sucks because I can park over here, got a class over here, but my next class way over there. I'm not going to move my car and then go way over here. So it was just too much. But then, so after that, basically, I will go to these meetings where we'll talk, meet with the big four sometimes, and then we'll have our little organizational meetings and stuff like that. And remind you, I went to school. I was at OU at the age of 29, 28,
yeah.
29.
Yeah, you was my age at that point. I'm 29 now.
Yeah, so
he was out the game.
Out the game, and and I'm in class with 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds, 21-year-olds, and I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, of course, because they were doing it the right way. Sure. But the demographic was different. A 28, 29-year-old black man. I'm in a class full of young whites. I think we had a couple Asians. No other. There was a black girl, but she was. I don't think she was as cultured as a black girl, but
it's definitely a black woman always in there. Go ahead.
So not to take away from her blackness, but you could tell that not raised to like.
She assimilated completely. Like in a way, we've all assimilated. Like you speak English, I speak English. Like I speak English a little differently than people. I've assimilated.
Mm-hmm. But, so I felt some type of way, but then it came to a point where I was in that thing and I was just being confident and being myself.
Yeah.
Where I think I was getting more traction from people at those big four companies to bring me on. I was getting, man, I didn't actually go to one interview, but we were trading cards and they were talking to me more, and I think that's because at this point I'm the oldest person in the room, and I was bald at the time, so I did not have hair, so you could tell I was the oldest person in the room. I had style, I looked nice. They liked my socks, whereas these younger kids, they didn't present themselves as good as I did. But understand, by the time that they are at my age, they probably have way less monkeys on their back.
Exactly. So I want to kind of like talk about that too, because I kind of dealt with the same thing because the companies look at you as like, oh, okay, he got himself together, but it's kind of, do they look at you to hire you on to train you, or they look at you on to fill a quota for diversity and inclusion? You know, so for me, it was kind of like, all right, like I was like outspoken, and people liked me because I was outspoken. I was a go-getter, and then most of my counterparts in the accounting field when I was in college, they were white and Asian, just like yours, but they were soft spoken. They didn't know how to speak to people. You know, they didn't really know how to do things. But then fast forward into actually getting a job and going into public accounting, these people's careers lasted longer than mine, and I'm the outspoken one. So it's obviously was an imbalance there. You know, what you say, it was less monkeys on their back, you know, in the end result, like when they're 29. Like for me, people are still working at Grant Thornton that I'm 10 times smarter than, you know. So it was kind of like, okay, I kind of get the gist of what's going on here. And, you know, and diversity and inclusion is fine, but the problems are really like underneath. Like people don't really, are not blatantly racist. They're like subtly racist, you know,
Yeah,
about things. And it kind of hinders us. That's kind of like what made me kind of go off on my own and create my own accounting firm, you know, for all types of people. But most of my clients are black, you know, black, gay, or, you know, Hispanic. You know, I have, you know, here to there, I have white clients, but it's just not a thing. I guess that's the way it's panned out. But, you know, that's just the card that cards I've been dealt and I have to deal with.
I think one thing that we don't really take into account is that uh, well, and that's kind of why I structure my business to aim towards Black people. If I get white people, fine. You know,
Yeah.
I'm not about it, but I think I have a deeper connection with people, you know, Black people, and or there other minorities, you
Yeah.
know. And but one thing is, when I never stop at that. You know, it's not like, oh, they're not Black, I'm not gonna say nothing to them,
Exactly. Yeah.
because I will. I say to any, if I see somebody with a problem. I have a customer that I'm making a customer now because they hit me up from my YouTube page about my tax questions, you know, about verifying their people. So they send me an email. Now I have their email. So,
Yeah.
you know, once they verify themselves and they get it, you know, taken care of, then I'm gonna follow up. Hey, man, you know, tax season coming back around. I don't know where they from, but it don't matter where they from because I can do their taxes from anywhere. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? So at the same time, so that's a person I've never seen. I don't know what color they is. I ain't Google them or nothing. I just got
Exactly.
an email from them, and
Yeah.
I have 3 customers like that. So that and that part, but they see my videos, so they see me. They know who I am, or they have an idea of who I am. And I think when people see that, it makes them comfortable without knowing you, because you're putting the information out there and they don't have to have an actual conversation. But then when you do, I think that that probably builds onto it. But when they see you in a different form, as far as if they're trying to get, you know, they just need some inclusion. Because at my current job, if I'm actually doing billing right now for these people.
Uh,
Um, if I wondered for my job, if I was brought in the company to be the third Black person. And honestly, I don't think so 100%. I don't think so. But I do think there is a chance because I was the third Black person. We only had
exactly.
one.
Yeah.
We have a lot of different Asians, based on, we work at a Japanese company. So there's Chinese, there's some Japanese, there's a Korean, you know. But then again, it benefits them to have these people in there because we work in the shipping market, the shipping industry. So we need people that can speak these languages at different points of, you know, of the day, and
The
or just in
engagement.
case.
Yeah.
So having a diverse community is great. When I go to these oil and gas industries, these conventions,
Mm-hmm.
there are everybody. There's
Yeah.
everybody. So they don't make you feel as if, you know, you're Black. you know, I don't think you belong here type shit. Everybody's talking, everybody's
Exactly.
together.
And I think that's like America has its own situation, right? Like I've traveled the world before. I've been to Africa and like Central America and South America. In South America and Central America, they have the more like racist kind of like exclusion type of mindset. To where when I went to Africa, they were like more inclusive. Like race wasn't really like a thing like that. And I when I went to Africa, I've met people in different hostels from like Germany and from the Netherlands, and they didn't think about race like that. And it kind of just like begs the question: America is a peculiar institution. Like
Yes,
here is like here's like the only like the world doesn't really see race as we do in America. To whereas race is kind of like the number one thing that we kind of like talk about and like we live, we base things off of in the States, So
well, I went to Amsterdam and I
uh-huh.
met a girl from Afghanistan, and I was like, I would have never met a person like you if I didn't come over here, because, or from your country,
Yeah.
because if she was here in America, she'll be ridiculed, not
Mhm.
because of what she does or how she had it. She was working at the hotel. She was a concierge. Obviously, a wonderful person.
Yep.
In America, because of stigmatisms, it'll
Yeah,
it'll be
she'll be
hard.
afraid. Yeah, she'll be afraid to engage.
Yeah, it's
I
not.
mean, she'd be afraid to engage. I deal with people like that all the time. To where if like I meet somebody, like even in America, like somebody comes from directly from another country, they have a better rapport than me than like the American like people here, American whites here, and
Mhm.
and I just really, I really want to grow from that and not really harp like think about it too much, but it's there. It's in front of we deal with it every day. It's there and it's in front of us, but I wanted to be kind of like a motivator in a way to kind of do more things that a lot of black men just get not motivated for. Like we don't have like like we talked about before, we don't have that support. And to kind of build. And it's kind of like what our women calling on us to do is to build and support, right? And we can't do that because they don't understand. It's kind of two different paradigms. We're dealing with the black male's paradigm and what they think life is, and then you got the black woman's paradigm and what they think life is, and we're both like at war with each other when we're both getting used by the same system you
So,
know
you know, and it's a thing. Whereas just a few weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, we were probably the strongest we could have been in a long time on the same playing field with each other. And then now that the marching has slowed and died down, we're back to
Comfortable.
the, dissing each other, my baby mama, baby daddy, baby, whatever.
Comfortable. I mean, it's comfortable. Like that people fall back into what's comfortable for them. I think the main thing, and I think is like why they control us so much, and they have a perfect system. It's not a fair system to us, but it's a perfect system for them. Is the culturelessness. Like we have assimilated so much that we don't have our own mother tongue. We don't really know how to communicate or create a culture. Yeah, we juke and twerk and play our music here and there, but there's no culture of development at all.
We're, we're building one though. Like,
Like, but like on what cultural basis you see? You look at the Irish people, you look at Italian people, you look at Chinese people. That is what their businesses build off of their culture. You look at Japan; they do those meetings every day before work. I'm pretty sure you've seen it before. Every day before work, they talk about what they're going to do for today.
but think about this. We say if we tried to build our culture off of African cultures, Africans is not gonna like that.
Yeah, they will.
It's not like they're not that accepting. Some of
Man,
them.
when I was in Johannesburg and Cape Town, it was like our culture is literally the same, like that rhythm, that beat, that like freeness, like is literally the same. I can tell that we're not directly descended from there. Like at some point we came from there, but we're definitely different, a little different than them. I think, in my opinion, as far as looks and bone structure. But as far as like culture and stuff like that, we are definitely more, closer to African culture than this so-called white culture that they created. And I think, and deep down, I think, well, the white culture is our culture, really, and it's been stolen from us, and it's been whitewashed and everything. So,
I think the whole, but see, if I've never been to Africa,
uh-huh,
I could wave. I mean, if I was white
uh-huh,
and I got Irish blood, I could raise the Irish flag. I'm
uh-huh,
black, and I cannot tell you what country I came from
exactly.
to raise that flag. I could raise a continent, you know.
Exactly, and I think that's the disconnect is everybody's kind of looking for, as far as like, oh yeah, they killed George Floyd, and everybody's banding together to change a system that's broken. The system's not broken; it's working just fine. It's working perfectly.
Yeah, it's, it's just not working in our favor.
It's not. It was never meant to.
You're
If
right.
they didn't invent that damn cotton gin, we would still be in the same freaking predicament. And I think that's what people need to realize. And it's just the hard thing about it is kind of like, what is our basis? What is our culture? Like I stay here in Oak Park, and I see cultural centers all around with the red, green, and black flags and stuff like that. They'll start flying those when somebody dies, and people will start coming together. And then when it dies down, it is back to surviving. It's really like the violence comes from people surviving and like doing what they know. You
What
know.
do you think about how is what do you think the impact of? I mean, because of course in Chicago it's pretty rough out there,
Yeah.
and just that's just from me watching TV and watching the news. I heard Trump talking all type of noise about it. DJ Academics was really on the war in Chirac, talking about stuff like that. But then you watch shows like Black Ink Crew, where it's a black-owned business and that's thriving. Yeah, it looks messy as hell on TV, but that's
Well,
all.
people tune in for what?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they
For
tune
the
in.
bullshit. For the bullshit.
Outside of that,
Uh huh.
that actual functioning business,
Exactly.
and I I think if they show more of the positive shit that they do, it would not be on TV. We
Exactly. It wouldn't be on TV. It wouldn't be catchy. So people like in Asia or Afghanistan, they see that, they'll see those shows, and they'll form their opinions about us before they meet us, and then they wouldn't want to fuck with us, right? And then that goes back to us not having a cultural basis to go to, and to build anything. And I think it's still missing. Everybody's still trying to figure it out, and we're still trying to like make it work under this white supremacy rule or whatever. But I think the cultural basis is missing. Like when you said Black Ink, people put that on TV because you can see people like fighting and cursing at each other. You look at Love and Hip Hop, it's the same damn thing, just surrounded around tattoos, pretty much.
Yeah, and I don't. I mean, I watch it, but I do like to see the stuff that they do. And then one thing is good is that we actually get to see businesses grow and black men prosper. And I think a lot of people miss that. And I'd be like, man, look, when I went to New York City, I actually went to the Black Ink, or to the one in on 142nd Street or whatever, the one that
Uh-huh.
they filmed in the most.
Sure.
And then they had another one on 125th, but he has, several. And the thing is, it's not cheap to run businesses in Manhattan. It's
No.
expensive. So he's doing, obviously he's doing something right. And we need to like, and I'm pretty sure he started from Ryan or Caesar started from, they didn't start at the top. Nobody was handed them anything. They probably had to grind it out illegally for a few until they get it, because it's a lot of paperwork to get into these businesses.
Yeah.
Just like here, there's no roadmap that nobody's giving us. And when we say we need to come together, we need to come together to provide that roadmap for some people. Like
Exactly.
honestly,
Perfect.
everything
Yeah.
that I'm learning on my own.
Hmm.
And which is fine. That makes me hungrier, But what after I'm done, what do I do? Just continue to,
You teach
you
your
know,
kids.
yeah. Well, I
I
can
mean, you
teach my
teach your kids. I mean,
kids.
that's the
I can teach
key.
my
Like, that's the key. Like, to pass down your legacy, your culture through your kids. And once you are able to do that, and I think we've seen that from all other coaches, once you're able to pass down legacy, and this is how we do things, this is the way we do things, you don't have to put up a buy black sign or something. Like, people know that, like, if they need something, they'll go to, Joe, who has a, restaurant, or they, go to their own people because they have that culture surrounding them. I think it's just a confusion on the cultural basis that we don't have. And I think that's something that I'm trying to create within myself and within what I do in this lifetime. I'm a tax accountant, and I do, various things with real estate, but I also help people start businesses as well. People who wouldn't know about businesses, because my main goal when I went to college was to figure out why my family was so impoverished. Why are black people so impoverished? Like, what's really going on? And the thing of it is, yes, we were held back from certain things like that, but we have an ignorance in us to where we don't really go seek the information and just pass it down. Because my mom did a lot of things to where she kept a lot of things from me secret. Because I'm pretty sure, I don't know if you had that experience where your parents were like, this is grown folks business. Have you ever heard that before? This is grown folks business, and like, this is blah blah blah. And I'm like, okay, now that I have my kids, I'm telling them what I'm doing in my business. I'm telling them how to, have an asset. My son has 4 vending machines that he has at local beauty salons and barbershops. So I'm teaching them, I'm engaging with him, because I know eventually I'm going to die and he's going to leave my legacy. But I think just as far as a culture, we don't have that vision, to look forward. And it's time to like really create that vision. And we can try to do it out in the real world. It's kind of like why we're talking now, to kind of spread awareness. But it first starts within our family, you know? And the hard thing about it for us black men to start it in our family, we got to get our women on the same page, which we are divided. We've been divided since we got here, or since they began, like, enslaving us and stuff like that. We've been divided ever since then. I think we need to realize that, because the black woman definitely gets more benefits from the government for not, fucking with us,
Man, yeah.
literally. So it's a pool of our women that will get together, and I've seen this. They will get together and like, how much you bringing in from your child support? How much you bringing in from your child support? And they're master planners. I'll give them that. But they're him like using us as their survival strategy.
Well, here's another thing. The comedian Earthquake,
Uh-huh.
his baby mama had him on child support. He was able to pay his child support in advance so much that he paid it off 6 months earlier than the birthday, the 18th birthday, or something
Okay.
like that. I
Yeah.
think it's longer than that. Well, um, she didn't plan on that money stopping, and so basically, after the kid was grown, I'm pretty sure he still takes care of his children in whatever way he can.
Uh-huh.
But especially if he has a relationship with his son, which I'm sure he does. I think he was mentioning it. But now this woman, because of the whole society type thing, she was just getting that child support, doing God knows what, and I'm sure it was probably enough to start a business for 18 years. I
Yes.
mean,
I mean, they plan their lives around child support. And I'm not saying is child support is bad, but it has been used as a tool against us, and
keep us so
and they keep us suppressed. And our women, and I'm not saying all of our women are like this, because most of our women are good, but some of our women have an ill will, and they think they're getting up in the world, and they're using child support as a way to survive and have a source of income, but their family's not going anywhere. They're still renting, they're still working for somebody. Then the next generation learns the same thing. So it's not changing, and I think once we're able to realize that, and that's what's really hurting us is the family, that we have to start, like, the black woman has to start accepting the situation and understanding it more and lifting us up more to where we can be that support figure and understanding holistically the family structure, because I feel like it's a power struggle all the time, especially when you have kids. It's a power struggle. Who's going to say what? Who's going to do this? Who's going to be in charge of that? To rather come into approaching life as a unit, as like one person, two people as one person. That's really what it's supposed to be like. You have attributes that you help me out with. I have attributes that you that I help you out with, and we're supposed to come together, and we're supposed to like freaking do work in this life. We're supposed to be successful together. So then I get it all the time. Like with my baby mama, it's like, oh, she was all on board and everything when I was making 80 grand a year, like a salary or whatever. And then it was kind of like when she thought that things where I was trying to control or dictate things too much, she thought she can do it on her own. So that tears apart the family. And you get that a lot, with our situation, because it is an opportunity for them to go get their rent paid in full. They go live for free somewhere, get food stamps for free. Even then you get, the child support. So you got the three things that you need to survive and do what the hell you want without authority around. You have no like dads around to, have authority. So the cycle continues. Then our kids grow up with no authority. They either go to jail or they having kids like super early. And they have no idea what money is. So the cycle continues. So I think it's all like a part of the plot to, because this country or America, was never really meant for us to be free. So it's working. It's a perfect system that's working. It's sad to say, but it's working.
Yeah, it's different. But see, and that's why that's why this EIDL loan needs to be putting this shit back together, especially.
I mean, it will, but that's what I figured too. It will put us back together, but if our minds are not back together. When I went over to South Africa, the thing that really like stuck out to me is like, okay, it's a majority black here. How the hell they take over? And it was one of the things that stood out to me was the currency. They own the currency. They control the currency. The perceived value of the currency is the rand in South Africa. And that's not from South Africa. That's something the Dutch came over, because they were bartering before. That's something the Dutch came over. Now they control the currency and they have the banks. So they're able to control the industries and the economy still in Africa. And they don't have to be there. It's just coming from like, looking at it from a different angle to like oppression by controlling the currency. That Gaddafi, he wanted to change the I think it was like the gold standard. He wanted to move everything to the gold standard, and they killed him for it. So we got a lot of things that opposing us, but it starts with understanding like where we're at. Like I don't really try to judge people or things just like off the cuff and just be like, okay, this is bullshit. That got crazy. I really try to understand why they are the way they are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we have a great future if with the black men that we have, regardless of broken homes, but also black women too, because I see a lot of women becoming entrepreneurs. There's a lot of stuff out there with online that are giving people opportunities to have businesses on the side, and then eventually, because I know women that went from selling plates and selling cinnamon rolls on Facebook to actually getting them into what's that place called? Del Ranchos. I'm not sure if y'all have a Del Rancho up there, but from there, started from internet guys starting getting recommendations to doing brake jobs. Now he has a shop down here on the south side. Guy doing yard service. Now he got a line care service. So there's the opportunities that we getting and taken advantage of as far as those who really have the drive to do it. Now, when that drive starts at 35, 30 years old, you're 10 years behind someone that started, younger. And I tell you, if I knew what I knew, what I started to learn when I was 25, if I started to learn 5 years earlier, it took, because I wouldn't have gotten no trouble and shit like that. Or if
Exactly.
I started when I was 18, or if my father would have known that and put me in a position to do that, then I think I would have landed better or took off better. But
Exactly.
when I now my sons, when they get, my son is 22, he has good credit. Now, having good credit does not exclude you from making mistakes as a young person, but you're young enough to know. And I actually put him up on building his credit and building his, you know, his, making sure his bank account is nice. So whenever he is ready, he can go buy a house, and he
Exactly.
can do it by the age of 25. Whereas even if he did it right now, but here's one more about buying a house. Before I bought this house, if I would have known to use my FHA loan to buy a four
Exactly. A multi-unit. Yeah.
unit, I would have had less space, which
Yep.
would be fine.
Uh-huh.
But I would have had more income. By now, 2 years down the road, now I've been living here for 2 years, 2 years down the road, I probably generated enough income to go and buy me that house. And then I open back up that one of those apartments, that's their income right there.
Exactly. People have it
So,
backwards. Yeah.
and but that's again, that's where learning shit before the curve.
Exactly. I think that's what you have to teach him now is that and a single family home is a liability and a multifamily is an asset that cash flows. It's as
Mm-hmm.
simple as that. And he's 22 right now. I would say, like, kind of what's your hesitation and getting him started now? He has a full-time job. His credit's good. He's 22. The thing about being young and 22, he has a lot of time to make mistakes, right? So you want to
Yep.
get him started early, taking those risks and making those mistakes. Not saying he will make a mistake, but at least he has enough time to recover. He's able to go and build his credit back up because his credit won't be, hurt by taking risks. It's just only going to go up once he gets more inclined to getting into business, helping a business checking account, and having business credit. Um, so it's only like an opportunity for you as his, father or stepdad that to build him up in a way to where he's financially stable or financially literate. That's the main thing,
Yeah.
and teaching him the nuances of what you couldn't do when you were little. But I think it's really incumbent on us to share what we learn with our kids and pass down the legacy. But once we do that, we're able to do group economics. I know the famous Dr. Claude Anderson wrote a lot of books about how blacks can come out of poverty, and but I've read those books, but a lot of people just don't know about the things that we can do. The number one thing that we don't have in America is imports and exports. We don't control any imports and exports from in and out of this country. And every culture does. The Koreans do, the Japanese do, the Chinese people do. They have deals and stuff that, they have products that comes over here on those freight trains or freight ships.
Well,
So that's something that we can definitely look into as a people. I'm necessarily not in this lifetime. I wouldn't be doing it. I wanted to, but that's super, super huge. I would want a huge team to do that. Um,
but
but
let me
it's
tell you about the export, because I do shipping,
Yep.
and shipping like actual boat ships.
Yep.
So the one thing about our export system and why we don't have one is the Jones Act. Now, the Jones Act requires American ships to hire American workers. So, so when you hire an American worker, this worker's making like $115,000. Let's just say number, it's up there. But the same ship that's owned by somebody in India, they're only making like $40,000 a year. But $40,000 over there is a lot of money. $40,000 here is not enough money to be gone for 6 months or gone for a year. So basically that's like making bucks an hour, and that's working 40 hours a week, no overtime. But so in order for them to pay that much, the exports have to be more expensive. So if we export anything, we got to pay the people that work on the ship. They're gonna be gone for a month. So 1 month of their salary is $10,000, and we have 12 people on the ship. That's $120,000 a month just on the stuff that's on the ship. That's just for the actual crew.
Yeah.
And which is like, because we have like day pay. Like I forgot how we do it.
Exactly.
We
But who's
calculate.
paying for that though? Like, say if it's a white company, who's paying for that?
It pay who pay like so
Like, how are
usually
they doing it? You know what I'm saying?
so it usually falls on whoever's chartering the ship. So there's he puts everything on the ship. He gets everybody's cargoes, has the ship, brokers the ship, gets a deal, and he has to pay for the fuel and the day rate for the people on the ship.
Yeah.
So he's paying for the people on the ship and the day rate and the fuel. And so they have things called charter party terms where this ship has to sail this fast and has to use this amount of fuel because we're paying for the fuel. And if you say this ship can do that, then we'll pay for it. But it would be so expensive to charter an American ship where it will be $3,000 a day for an Indian ship. It'll be $12,000 for an American ship. So which one are you going to use? You're going to use the Indian ship.
Exactly.
And all the Indian ships come right here to the port and drive right off. They can't go to port to port to port. Only American ships can go port to port to port, or that Indian ship will have to pay a tax at every port. American ships don't have to pay a tax at every port. So that's why American ships only go coastals, and the like Chinese ships or the Korean ships or ships that ship
But do the
builders.
Chinese and Koreans have their separate ships, or are they in bed with America, and are they products on the American ship?
So basically, it depends on the company. So what's our assets? Oil and gas, natural gas.
Yep.
Okay, companies set up entities in America so they can get all the fuel, all the stuff, and do trading from America. So because they have an American company now, but this company may be in Europe, in which one of the companies I just finished doing billing for is in Europe, but their office is in Houston. So them having an office in Houston, a whole American entity, they can do all their trading and stuff with their ships from America. Yeah. And they have ships in America they go out to, they load up, it may be having 2 or 3 people on there. They load up, go out to international waters, trade the commodity, which is the natural gas.
Yeah.
And then that ship will go on to another place. So they get paid for going out there and going back. And they're still within the Jones Act. But that other ship can't be in the Jones Act because and they don't have to pay the tariff by coming in the port.
Exactly.
It's a system. They have it.
Exactly. So, we need to just figure it out. We need to figure it out for ourselves. It's complicated, but the framework's already made. I think it's barriers to entry, for us. But like you clarified, people in Africa can have a company here in the States, kind of do the same thing. But I wish somebody hear us talking and take advantage of this and do something about it. I'm definitely on my tax and accounting gig, so I just wanted to just chop it up with you as usual. I think we covered some good stuff today, just chopping it up. I think as we use it, as we go on, we can keep it casual. Next time, I think we can talk about a different topic if you just want to, let's see. But yeah, so if you want to like kind of like right after our call, just hop on here. If you still got to do something, I understand. But just hop right on here after our call, and we can get some stuff going. Let me see.
Okay, yeah, I had my car people just called like right at the end. I was trying to sit. I gotta give them all my information and stuff, and I'm like, I got a truck, man, but like, so it's a newer truck, got everything you can think of, but
You got a car note now?
Mm-hmm.
Oh shit.
Yeah, well, I always had one, but my debt to income ratio is now higher because I got a house since the last time I bought a car. Like I bought a car, I bought a house after I bought a car. And so now my debt to income ratio is high as high.
You bought a
So now they want.
single family home?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Oh, shit.
And they want me to have a cosigner, and I don't want one, but I will. But I was like, man, I might as well, for the price of that, I might as well go get a 2020 something nice, and not worry about like having, it's a 2-year-old car, but it's still nice. A
Yeah.
2-year-old truck, but that's the price of a 2020
Exactly. So
truck.
why don't you got an LLC, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you buy it through your LLC?
Well, I haven't really got anything started with the LLC. But
Oh,
what you think I would do? Because I haven't even got a bank account. Like
that's probably what you need, like a bank account. So pretty much what you do is you put the equity in it that you're gonna put in the car. Like you approach the dealer and say like, hey, I'm gonna buy this car with my LLC. I haven't done it yet. 'Cause I'm gonna sell it to myself because I'm doing the first year depreciation on
Mm-hmm.
my car. So I just bought my car, but I bought it myself. So I'm gonna buy my LLC is gonna buy it for me. But from what I've been told, you pretty much you put your equity into your business checking account, and that's what you use to make the down payment with. They process the paperwork with your LLC on it, and your LLC owns it. So it'll be operated like all your payments will go to your business checking account and everything, kind of just like a normal individual, is what was explained to me. But yeah, today was valuable, man. I kind of really want to harp on it a little bit more. I was really motivated, and I'm interested in this, to see what you thought about it. As far as the value creation, and the really thing that like stood out to me was being too conscious is the greatest risk of all. A lot of people are too conscious about taking a risk or doing stuff with their lives, and it's really incumbent on us to realize that we're being complacent and comfortable and not really taking any risks, and we're repeating the same patterns as our parents. And from a black man's standpoint, we have it bad because we have a lot of things going on within our family group, and then also as the world sees us, in the business world. So I kind of wanted to harp a little bit on that, like taking that risk, being too conscious is, or being too cautious is the greatest risk of all.
Yeah,
I didn't know
man.
what you thought about that.
I wanted to get more, yeah, because I understand like uh doing business, taking that risk. Um, man, the worst thing you could do is fail. But I think having an LLC and failing protects you as an individual.
Mm-hmm.
So people can start businesses without the proper and without taking the proper channels, and they fail, but they lose their home or they lose their car or or they're back working a 9 to 5, which is nothing wrong with a 9 to 5. You know how
Exactly.
everybody getting in trouble for saying working a 9 to 5 is bad. But
Yeah,
no,
and it's not even working 9 to 5 is bad. It's kind of like you giving your time away for money,
right.
type of thing, and shaking
Yeah.
people out of that.
And I think so one of the things that scares people the most is being on their own and having to take on more responsibilities.
Yeah.
If I have no responsibilities, then what is it? All I have to do is come in, clock in, I make a decent wage, my kids are taken care of, I have no worries. But if you take that chance, which most people are, because think about it, the things they have to think about: what am I going to do? Will it be valuable to my kids? a lot of people don't have that mindset or even the thoughts to create something
Exactly.
that valuable.
And even think of it as like a game, like, because your surroundings are you. You are a product of your environment. So if you're not around people who thinking about creating businesses, and for so long, I think the thing with just black people in general, we've been neglected. We've been held out from the business world, real estate in general. For me, because I'm really into real estate, I love real estate, but we've been held out for so long that we just forgot, or not even forgot, but we don't have the urge to go seek those new ventures for ourselves. And then when you talk about taking that risk on our own, people don't know, like, once you do take that risk, like, you're able to do things. Once you're able to, increase your financial literacy, like, you're able to start an LLC in the right manner. Like, you're not starting a business on your own and you're just swallowing all of those costs. You actually have an LLC, and all those things that you are spending on the business is deductible on your tax return. So you're paying less taxes by taking a risk. You're paying less taxes by taking a risk, and then the risk might be profitable, which in turn we all want our businesses to be profitable, but nobody wants to take that risk. But you're actually losing by not taking a risk, because you're taking a risk but not properly forming your LLC or having a business checking account. And that's the risk of, you swallowing those losses, you swallowing those expenses yourself.
That's where I'm at. Like, I need to create cause see, I'm really trying. Man, I've been listening. I've been looking at the EIDL and the PPP. I was looking at the PPP last week,
Yeah.
but I don't think I can qualify for the PPP based on, like, I just started my business, and based on, like, well, it's a bunch of different factors. But
Well, the PVP, I'm sorry to cut you off, but the PVP is you got to be dated before February 15th to get that. So that
right,
cancels that out. But the EIDL loan is open season.
right, and that is what I want to work on. We may have to make a special call to William to get that started, because then I could do it and I can get other people on it. Because
Yeah.
I know people. The people, one person I did his business taxes for.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey man, um, check this out. Let's see what we can do.
See what we can get. Exactly. And I think once
And
you're able to get the a couple of people in the door, I think they're really concerned about if there's a backlash coming. Because a lot of people are doing this shit fraudulently. They're not being, like, too honest about what they got going on. So a lot of people are going to get that backlash from the SBA saying, hey, we need your profit and loss statements, hey, or we need your tax returns. Like, we don't know what's coming down the pipeline. So us as professionals, to prepare them to prepare people to fill out the application the right way, I think it's a comment on us to educate people on the risks that they do take, or they do that, fictitiously, and you're trying to get over on the government. You want to do it the right way, but you still want to get some money. So I think it's
I
open. It's pretty much open season. But go ahead.
don't want to do it the wrong way, but I mean, if this is going to give my business a boost, because actually I do need working capital so I can do what I
Exactly.
need to do. And
Exactly.
if they want to afford the opportunity for that, especially like, because I want that's the perfect end to real estate.
Uh,
And $25,000 could get you a multiplex.
but
Period.
remember,
Like,
what we were talking about in our call with our team. You can't invest the money in fixed assets or
yeah,
anything like
I'll flip
that.
it.
So he said, "You gonna flip it, huh?"
Flip
I
it.
mean, you can flip it. I mean, it's a tool. Like, it's a big tool that you can use, and you can filter it through your business. You can have it, feed you more money out of your business by hiring more employees. That's what I would use it for: hiring more employees, to actually provide more income to people, and actually get more of a results on my end. Once I'm able to, funnel more income in my business, I'm able to use those funds to, really invest in real estate if I wanted to. I think just flat out using the money to invest in real estate is kind of risky because it's not used for that. But I think funneling funneling it through my business through like hiring more employees or getting more marketing. And I think that the key is I have value, that I'm giving people, but it's not in front of everybody. It's a zillion people out here in the world, it's a lot of people out here in the world, but my message, is only getting to a certain amount of people. Like every Sunday, I do the Sunday Fun Day thing, right? But it's only getting to the friends and family that I've acquired over my lifetime through college and high school and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a huge other market out there that doesn't even know me yet. So that's what really excites me about the word abundance, and having an abundance mindset. Um, but I think doing it like, the right way is definitely important, because you definitely, like, people get greedy. Just kind of like what you said, you're like, man, I'm gonna use it to, I'm gonna flip it or something like that. But make sure you using your brain, like brain, as far as like being financially literate about it, and being like, hey, how can I like use this to my advantage illegally? I mean, not illegally, but legally, right? That's what we want to get away from. We want to use it to our advantage legally. So that's something I've been thinking about as well too. um so I think that's really important for us to like kind of harp on too, but just taking that risk, and I think we're talking from two black men, right? Two black men, and we're speaking like to mostly like black men out there who want to kind of start their own business, because we kind of know, me and you, Perry, we kind of know what it takes to be, a black man. I got a baby mama, I got, three kids. You probably got the same setup, and all in all, it's kind of like a general consensus of the black men in America. Like we all are kind of like, in the same boat. Like I haven't been to prison or anything like that, but I've been, incarcerated for like, not even like long, but I've been dealing with the police, all my life. You have been dealing with the police all your life, and it's kind of like, how do we, come up out of that and still stay motivated to start our own businesses and support our families when we have the world looking down at us. We have our own women looking down at us, and that's a main problem, because we get beat up by the world, and then we come home and our women beat us up, because they want to be, the say-sowers, and they want to take our roles.
And
So
now
it's
we living under their roof. You know what I'm saying? Because
exactly.
with having a baby mama, so my my income, having outside kids outside of my house, my
Uh-huh.
income is split between what I bring home and child support.
Exactly.
And say you got to put the kids on insurance, that's more money out.
Hmm.
So when it comes down to the time to, oh, I need to buy a house or I need to buy a car, that's a monthly payment. Average car, unless you get a bucket, you're talking about 199, and that's with good credit. That's if you can get a good loan for a older car, so you're not paying, but you're going to pay a high interest rate. So at every step you're getting beat down until you rich. At every state from on the low pole, you getting beat down. Child support, high interest rate loans. You haven't even got to where you can afford to buy a house yet.
Yeah.
So if
Because
you're
you don't
making,
exactly, and that's what happened with me within public accounting. Not even like, we're not able to keep job. I was there for a year and a half, and I got fired for low productivity, because my culture was different. White people were afraid to engage with me, even though they showed like a general, like, niceness or whatever, but they wouldn't engage with me further, like to where my counterparts who were white, were getting invited out to drinks. They would send them a big freaking like procedure list on, this is how you perform an audit. So it was pretty much laid out for them to where I had to like sit there for hours and learn different standards myself. And then a lot of different engagement they didn't put me on, because they didn't know, they were fearful, and I could sense it. And this is probably going into corporate America, because I had experience in that, but I can sense that they're like, they don't know my competency, they don't know if I'm going to be able to handle the client on my own. And I can sense that they felt that, but I felt pretty good about what I knew, and if I had a good guidance from my seniors and stuff like that, I could do it. But it was that overall preconceived like notion that I wasn't competent, and they didn't understand like a culture. They're like, okay, he's here on diversity and inclusion. He's just here because he's black, you know. So we got to be nice to him, but we're not really going to invest time and teach him the ins and outs of the game. And that's kind of like something I've seen within public accounting. I mean, that's something I've heard testimonies about all the time with like black men and black women in corporate America in any job. It's kind of like, you know, you're kind of like you're accepted, but like you're still like you're not. It's I don't really know how to explain it, but it's like you're accepted, but you're really not like invited in, you know, and you kind of still got to work with what you got, you know. So
Man, I had a